We just getting started, baby. Did anybody see what Mr. Wardell Steph Curry did to the Portland Trailblazers? They were nobodies. They beat the Giants. Trash. They beat the Broncos. Trash. If you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, my man's was Super Saiyan. I couldn't wear this until we actually caught a dub. And he did all of this damage in 36 minutes. Let that sink in. They beat the Eagles, trash. The Cowboys, trash. The Bengals, trash. The Jaguars, trash. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here on Rob's 2 Cents. My good people, my good people. Hello, world. I'd like to welcome you back to the show that's hot with your boy, Rob Scott. This is Rob's 2 Cents. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I definitely enjoyed myself this weekend. It was one for the memory books. Took the wife out, surprised her. Hotel room, stayed at the W downtown, went to STK. Had a 5-star meal. Tried dry aged steak for the first time. I've been watching Google Foods on YouTube. Free promotional plug here. But I've been watching Google Foods. That's Guga Foods, and this dude makes all type of, he does all type of experiments with steaks, and they look delicious. So he does this dry aged experiment. And I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to try dry aged steak. So, going to STK, which was a great restaurant, by the way, gave us 5-star treatment. Didn't have to wait long for reservations. Food was amazing. They had dry aged bone in on the menu. So I was like, hey, this is my time to try that. And man, let me tell y'all, dry aged steak is delicious. It's like very tender. I order my steaks medium. I know my mentor will love to hear that. Don't kill your steaks, people, by getting them well done. I understand, us, especially black people, we like to cook our food, which is understandable. But some things you have to be careful with, because when you get that steak well done, you're killing your steak, people. I'm just letting you know. I used to be the same way. You could do what I did. Go from well done to medium well. See how you like that. Then move on to medium. And that's about as far as I'm going to go. I've thought about trying medium rare, but I don't want to see any blood on my food. But that's besides the point here, man. I'm glad you guys came back. Was very excited about doing this show. We got a lot of big things happening in the league. Also today, today is Monday, but you guys will be watching this Tuesday. We lost a legend today as well in the game of basketball. I'm gonna make sure I give him his just due in the closing segment of this show. But we got a lot to talk about in sports here, man. We got some teams on the rise. Teams starting to get healthy, starting to get it together, starting to get it all together. The league was plagued by injuries this past week and weekend. Couple key players, real talk, key players went down, and some teams are going to be fighting until they get their stars back. But we're going to get into all that, man. I want you guys to sit down, get your popcorn, kick your feet up, and come tune in for the hottest sports conversation in the nation. This is Rob's 2 Cents. And we got to start off today's show talking about Luka Mania, people, because Luka Doncic is starting to get into MVP form. He continues to amaze the NBA fans, me, you, all of us, with his superstar performances that he's been putting on so far. Right now, he has Dallas right back in the playoff picture, right back in playoff contention, with them finally reaching that top 8. So they're finally in the playoff picture, being in 8th place right now. Now, even though if the season ended today, the Mavs will still be subject to a play-in tournament to determine who will actually play in the playoffs. So again, remember, with the play-in style tournament, is going to be the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seed. So those seeds are going to battle it out. One game elimination, pretty much winner takes all, with the winners coming out of those games determining what's their seeding. So you're going to have, I'm assuming, 7 versus 10, 8 versus 9, and then the winners out of those groups will determine who will be 7th and 8th, who's going to go against the first seed, who's going to go against the second seed. So right now, if the season ended today, Dallas will be in this play-in style tournament. I believe it'll be Dallas, Golden State, Memphis, and the Spurs, I think. So they're going to be fighting for that playoff life if they're not able to get in that upper six. But with some big injuries that just happened, there's a chance that can happen, especially with the way Luka is playing right now, and Dallas is getting healthy as other teams are starting to fall apart. So they're starting to play great basketball at this time. Now, Dallas, as I mentioned, they've been plagued by injuries and the NBA's health and safety protocols. So they have they've had the most player missed games due to COVID-19. So even though they haven't had to postpone or reschedule games, they've had a lot of players in and out of the lineup due to COVID interaction, due to people being around somebody with COVID or somebody coming in the vicinity with COVID. Dallas has been hurt. They've missed players like Josh Richardson, Maxi Kleber, Jalen Brunson, just to name a few. Even Kristaps Porzingis missed the first 9 games of the season due to an injury from last season. So they've been starting out shaky, but that's because, they've even missed some time without Luka, which, of course, if they don't have Luka, Dallas goes as Luka goes. So, yet they're finally over 500 now, and they're starting to catch their rhythm at the right time. And we all know my boy Luka is leading that charge. Luka's averaging almost a triple-double for the season. He's averaging 29 points off 48.4% shooting from the field, along with 9.2 assists and 8.4 rebounds a game. He's been on the rear tear lately, and we got to look at the last couple of games just to see how much of a tear he's been on. So first up, they would defeat Denver 116-103, a game in which ended Denver's 5-game winning streak. So they put a halt to that 5-game winning streak. Doncic and Porzingis were back in the lineup after sitting out against the Thunder. So, the load management resting that these new players like to do. A person that follows the show, actually my CEO of my show, appreciate the love. The CEO of my company that I work for, he actually reached out, and I'm going to be doing that in the summer, especially when all we pretty much have is baseball and waiting on football to kick back up. I'm going to talk about the difference in eras and why I like this a certain era as opposed to certain eras that are being played now or certain eras that have already been played. But I know in today's era, load management is a big thing, which I can understand. A 72-game season, especially compacted as much, a lot of back-to-back games this year. So they get a G pass for that. But they were a welcome sight back into the lineup because Luka would go for 21 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds. Porzingis will lead all scorers for Dallas side of the ball as he would have 25 points, shooting 10 or 15 from the field, including 5 or 7 from the three-point line. That's your center, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a give and take with this era because now with this era, you have centers that can step out on you. You have centers that can yak, in the words of Shaq, that can knock down those threes. So it's a give or take with these certain eras. But next up, the Mavs will lose to the Los Angeles Clippers 109-99. The Clippers were looking for a little revenge, mind you, after losing to the Mavs by 51 points earlier this season. Revenge were on their mind. And no, ladies and gentlemen, that was not a mistake. That was not a typo on my part. You heard it right. They lost by 51 points. Remember, that's when I did the shame on you on Paul George. You let a team beat you by 51 points. You better get a W back when you see them. Now, Luka will have a game high of 25 points, and also he got a triple double. He had 16 assists and 10 rebounds to go along with the 25. However, the Clippers defense will force him to 7 turnovers and a horrible shooting night as he shot 9 of 23 from the field and 4 of 11 from the 3-point line. Kawhi will lead the way for his team, scoring 22 points, including 7 assists, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. And Kawhi Leonard, in the words of Michael Jordan, he took that personally because he was guarding Luka and he was all over Luka. Him and Paul George were just switching up, making Luka feel real uncomfortable. However, this was a back-to-back situation. As I mentioned, in this compact season, there's a lot of back-to-back games. And the Clippers had to see Dallas again. And the Clippers, unfortunately, wouldn't be the one laughing last because Dallas would get the last laugh as they would face the Clippers again in a back-to-back and defeated the Clippers 105-89. Now, even though Paul George and Kawhi would combine for 48 points, Luka was just too much for him because he would go for 42 points, shooting 16 to 28 from the field, which is 57.1%, including 6 of 11 from distance, which is 54.5%. Not to mention he had 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. That boy got game. I'm telling you, and I don't know what it is about the Clippers that Luka loves about this team, but when he plays the Clippers, he rubs hands like Birdman, and he know it's barbecue chicken time, man. But that win will be short lived, as they would go on to lose to Portland in a close game, 125-119. We know Dame Dollar. We know how he get down. He had C.J. McCollum back. He had his partner in crime back. They'll have their best outing as a duel since C.J. returned back to the lineup from a broken foot. Dame Dollar will go for 31 points. He shot 52.3% from the field, including 40% from the three-point line, along with 6 dimes. Now, C.J., he will go for 32, shooting 7 of 13 from distance. Luka went for 38 with 9 assists and 9 rebounds, but he didn't get no help from his partner in crime because the Trailblazers held Porzingis to 11 points as he shot 3 of 11 from the field. But, again, this was a back-to-back situation, and the Mavs would get their revenge as they played Portland, winning 132-92, and Luka would go nuts. He'll catch the Holy Ghost, people, because he would go for 37 points, shooting 13-19 from the field, including 8 of 9 from distance. He didn't miss a shot until the third quarter. And speaking of third quarters, he did all this damage in 3 quarters on Portland. Again, he went for 37 points, 13-19 from the field, 8 of 9 from the 3-point line, had 4 dimes, also grabbed 7 boards. The boy Luka is a monster. And when he gets that hot, ain't no stopping Luka. Now, Dame, CJ, and Melo, they had a bad game. Why? Because as a combined trio, they went 0-16 from the 3-point line. Let me tell you now, and Dame mentioned this in the post-game interview. If him, CJ, and Melo can't hit a 3, Portland is going to lose. Period. Point blank. I'm telling y'all right now, Dallas is on the roll right now. Luka's starting to look like an MVP. He scored 117 points in his last 3 games. He's been the floor general that Dallas needs to make some noise in the playoffs. Now, remember, last year, honestly, had Porzingis not got that tech called on him when they went against the Clippers in the first round, Dallas was looking like they had the Clippers' numbers. And unfortunately, the refs won the game for the Clippers, and then Porzingis would go down with an injury, pretty much leaving Luka by himself. And it's only so much Luka can do when it's playoff time, because those Clippers that you see in the regular season, those teams that you see in the regular season are not the same teams when postseason comes around. When postseason comes around, throats get a little tighter, palms get a little sweatier. It's time to play real basketball. But Dallas, I truly believe, had Porzingis not got thrown out the game, got ejected out the game due to those weak techs that the ref threw, Had Porzingis not, got that injury that'll keep him out for the rest of the series, I truly believe in my heart of hearts Dallas could have beat the Clippers, and that would have been a very underwhelming season for the Clippers because you got eliminated out the first round. You guys were put together to be a championship team. When they went to go get Kawhi Leonard and he said, bring Paul George with me, that's the only way I'll sign. You guys, they didn't give you guys all that money so that you guys can get eliminated from the first round. So, however, luckily for them, Porzingis, he got hit with a tech and an injury. Now, if the Dallas Mavericks can escape this injury bug, which seems to plague Porzingis every year, because Porzingis, to me, has been injured every year, starting from his years with New York. I don't think I've ever seen him play a full season. I don't even think sometimes I've seen him play a half a season. Every time I look up, the big fella is hurt. Now, if he can dodge that injury bug, the Mavs will not be a team that other teams will want to go into a 7-game series with. Let me tell you, because right now, the Mavericks are playing ball. And I'm going to talk about another team that's playing good ball right now, Philadelphia, because shockingly, they're still a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference, still the best in the East, the beast of the East, as you will. Philadelphia has continued to be a powerhouse in this Eastern Conference, even without their MVP candidate Joel Embiid, who have been in and out of the lineup as of late, and there's no timetable for his return because he's out with a bruised knee. Now, I was reading an article today on NBA.com, and the Philadelphia 76ers are saying, hey, we're thinking bigger picture when it comes to Joel. We do not want him to come back and he's not ready to come back. You don't want a situation where you're not able to make the noise in the postseason as you thought you would be, because Joel Embiid is pretty much the heartbeat of the 76ers. So they're saying, hey, we'll make it through the regular season. We have a great enough team to continue to push on through the rest of the regular season, but we're not putting Joel on the timetable. He's going to come back when he's 100% and ready to be at that MVP level as he's been playing all season. And want to talk about MVP level for Joel Embiid. He's averaging 29.9 points a game, 11.3 rebounds a game, along with 3.3 assists. Not to mention him and Ben Simmons were neck and neck, as him, Ben Simmons, and Rudy Gobert are probably your top 3 candidates to win Defensive Player of the Year. Now, they're led by their 2 other stars, however, by Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, and Philly seems to be the real deal and one of the best contenders to contend with the offensive juggernaut known as the Brooklyn Nets. With Ben Simmons, he's been the floor general that they need in Philadelphia. He's getting everybody into their spots. He's pushing the break. He's pushing the tempo when need be. And, of course, being a 6'10" point guard, he's pretty much unguardable, and he can get to that rim pretty much at will. And it seems that the offense is flowing a little better with Embiid out of the lineup, because now you give more space to Ben Simmons to go to work. Right now, he's averaging 15.9 points, including 7.7 assists per game, along with 8 rebounds. And as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, he's averaging 0.7 blocks a game, along with 1.5 steals. So he pretty much had a block a game, along with 2 steals. And then you got Tobias Harris. He's averaging 20.7 points a game and 7.5 rebounds a game, and he's being that closer that Philly needs in late game situations. So, when you need a bucket, a clutch fourth quarter bucket, Tobias Harris is the guy to go to. We even remember that matchup between them and the Lakers. Tobias and LeBron were going back and forth, and Tobias was able to hit a clutch game-winner shot that won the game for the Philadelphia 76ers. Tobias Harris is the real deal, and so are the 76ers. And they look to be a real contender to hold that Larry O'Brien trophy when it's all said and done. Now, once they get the big fella back, if Embiid can continue where he left off at, come back being the MVP, because right now, especially with the injury to LeBron and James Harden not really starting off with the Brooklyn Nets, because you're going to have to count those Houston games against him when he pretty much quit on Houston. He had one game when he showed you, I'm still the bearded one, I'm still the MVP, and then he said to hell with Houston. He was no longer interested in being there. And I do feel sorry for Coach Silas, because, right now Houston, man, not to get off subject, but they're on a 20-game losing streak. And I think it's the most in franchise history. And you can just tell the team kind of quit on him. He had a moment at the podium during a post game interview, and he just did not look good. I feel sorry for Coach Silas, and I'm hoping that Houston is able to turn around, maybe get some great offseason moves. But as a management team for Houston, don't judge Coach off this season, okay? A lot went on this season. You was welcoming back a John Wall who's been gone for the past couple of years, dealing with injuries. You had a James Harden who showed up to training camp out of shape, didn't want to be there. Then you had to watch him go to Brooklyn and be the James Harden you was hoping he was going to be for your team. You had to let go of DeMarcus Cousins. You're getting Victor Oladipo back, but you had people in and out of the lineup like Eric Gordon, like Daniel House. PJ Tucker just left, went to the Milwaukee Bucks. It's just a lot. Westbrook left at the beginning of the season to go play with the Wizards. Don't judge Coach off this season for Houston. But back to Philly. If we look at Philly, we knew that they were going to be a better team if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were able to find a way to play together. You bring in a coach like Doc Rivers, a decorated coach, a champion, and you bring in pieces like Seth Curry. You bring in pieces like Danny Green, somebody to give you players to give you stability at that 1 and 2 guard position. And with the way Seth and Danny can play off the ball, it allows Ben Simmons to be your true point guard. Philadelphia looks for real, but the question remains, as real as they look, can they beat Brooklyn? Because honestly, Philly, Brooklyn are up here and everybody else falls under tier, okay? So if Philly can beat Brooklyn, I believe you're looking at your next NBA champions. Granted that AD is not healthy, because if AD is healthy, I still got my money on the Lakers. But let me just tell you guys, from what I've seen from Brooklyn, Brooklyn is scary. And the question for Brooklyn is going to be, can you contend with the man known as Joel Embiid? Because he's going to be a load down there on the block. And I don't think anybody on Brooklyn can stop him. All right. As I mentioned earlier before we started talking about the show, the NBA was plagued with injuries this past week and going through the weekend. Steph Curry is out indefinitely after injuring his tailbone in the game versus the Rockets last Wednesday. He has not played since that game. There's no timetable for his return as of yet. Steve Kerr was very cryptic when being asked on the timetable for Steph Curry. Honestly, you want to know what Rob's 2 cents is? I'm going to tell you what Rob's 2 cents is. Keep Steph out. This season is a down the drain season, okay? You wanted to see how he would mesh with the new players. Right now, it's not imperative for Steph to come back. Even if you guys are in a situation where you can be in that play-in tournament, honestly, and I'm a Golden State fan, the Warriors are my team, you're not making any noise in the playoffs, Golden State. You don't have enough to contend with these offensive powerhouses, these dynamic duels that these teams are starting to form. I would let Steph sit out and get as healthy as you can. I would probably even think about taking Draymond out for the remainder of the season. Get ready for Klay to come back healthy. Make some moves in the offseason. Possibly bring in a nice draft pick. And I believe the Warriors will be right back there in contention, especially from what I see from Klay Thompson. On social media over the weekend, Klay Thompson was shooting corner three-pointers without even jumping in the air, and I saw him hit like 10, 15 in a row. I'm like, it is a cheat code for to be able to shoot like Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. That is just amazing. The stroke that these guys have, no homo. Just swish. I mean, Klay Thompson is a dog, and he's one of the better two-way defenders in the league. So it's going to be a welcome sight for Golden State to get Klay back. I would keep Steph out, call this season over with. We'll get him next year. Also, in sad news, the exciting rookie, the front runner to win Rookie of the Year, LaMelo Ball, he is possibly out for the season. Now, he's saying he's going to get a second opinion from another set of doctors, but just based off what happened versus the Spurs this past weekend, he fell after a fast break layup. He fell on his right wrist. And it didn't look like too hard of a fall. However, you're never really supposed to try to break your fall with your hands. They always teach you to kind of throw your body, let your body take the blunt of the force. However, he fell on his hands, and he fractured his right wrist. Right now they're saying that he can be possibly out for the rest of the season. Again, he's going to get a second opinion, but that opens the door right up for another exciting rookie, Anthony Edwards, to take the award, especially because he's been on such a tear lately. Remember, he scored 42 points. Karl-Anthony Towns scored 41 the previous night. He is starting to understand the NBA. You can tell his progression, but he's still a young kid as well. You got to remember, both of these kids are 19 years old. He's averaging 16.7 points on the season, along with 4.3 rebounds, and I believe right now he's leading all rookies in scoring. However, what makes it, I mean, the race was between Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball anyway, and if LaMelo was out for the season, you can pretty much crown Anthony Edwards your winner. However, it's very hard because I just mentioned that Houston is on a 20-game losing streak, and Minnesota is still in last place in the West. So however you want to take that, you can run with it. But Minnesota has not been a very good team. I know they've been hurt by injuries. They've been hurt by COVID. We know the situation, Karl-Anthony Towns has been through. My prayers are with you, brother. I continue to pray for you daily. Losing his mother, losing other family members, he himself getting COVID, and it's been a tough go for Karl-Anthony Towns. So, hopefully, with this exciting rookie on this team and Anthony Edwards, Minnesota can make a little noise next year if they can get the right moves on that team. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we lost the king. LeBron is expected to miss a few weeks after an upper ankle sprain that he received during the second quarter of a game versus the Hawks on Saturday. So pretty much LeBron, had his back to the defender, getting ready to make a move. He kind of turned right into Solomon Hill, who was there waiting for the double team. He was able to kind of poke the ball loose from LeBron, and they both went for the ball. However, Solomon Hill kind of dived for it, but it wasn't a full dive. You can tell he didn't want to run into LeBron. However, he fell right on LeBron's ankle, and you saw LeBron thriving in pain. Players like Kyle Kuzma, they said they've never seen LeBron scream out like that before in pain, because he's usually Iron Man. I mean, the most significant injury LeBron has had was that groin injury that made him miss the later part of the season. What was that, back in 2018, 2019, when he first got with the Lakers, when he had Lonzo Ball, when he had Brandon Ingram, when he had Josh Hart there. LeBron doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss seasons. He's usually right there in the thick of things, and he takes such good care. What they say, he spends $1.5 million on his body a year. He takes such great care of his body that it almost looks like he's impervious to injury. However, that was not the case after Solomon Hill fell on his ankle. And ladies and gentlemen, that was not a dirty play. I hear, Montrezl Harrell calling him out, saying that was not a dirty play. Solomon Hill is not the caliber player that LeBron is. So when he's in the game, he has to do things that LeBron wouldn't do to keep his name relevant in the game of basketball, to keep his career going until he's ready to retire. So you're gonna have players that do a little bit more. They dive on the floor. They play defense a little bit harder because they're not physically blessed to be the specimen that LeBron James is. And you guys can cut all that noise saying that was a dirty play. Hopefully, LeBron will be back in a few weeks. As I said, he's probably going to miss 3 weeks to a month because upper ankle sprains are a little bit different from lower ankle sprains. It's pretty much you have to let your foot heal up. I just went through an ankle sprain myself. So LeBron was out there with his team in the walking boot, trying to support his team and show that he was there for them. Maybe not physically on the court, but he's still a voice that's in their ears, trying to get them, in the right places and tell them what to do. So hopefully, what this means for the Lakers, because they didn't look too good without LeBron. Let me just tell you, if the Lakers are not able to hold their spot, you got teams like Phoenix, teams like Dallas that's trying to move up and get out of that play-in situation. So hopefully the Lakers can stay afloat. I just don't see that happening without AD or LeBron. The Lakers could be in serious trouble if neither one of those players can come back 100%. Got a couple quick hitters before we end tonight's show. LeBron James became a partner with Fenway Sports Group and is now part owner of the Boston Red Sox. As you know, LeBron already owns the Liverpool Football Club soccer team. So now you can add Boston Red Sox to the list. And LeBron is just like I always say, GM Bron is always setting the blueprint on what athletes should do, because you're not going to be able to play basketball forever. You're going to need a different avenue if you want to stay relevant in the world of sports, if you want to keep being keep making it a lucrative business. LeBron understands that basketball is one check, but I have endorsements. I have TV shows. He's doing movies now. As you know, Space Jam 2 will be coming out soon. Now he's owners of prominent franchises like the Boston Red Sox, like the Liverpool Football Club. So more power to you, GM Brown. You continue to show these boys how to make money in this game, and this game called life. Blake Griffin made his debut for the Nets on March 21st on Sunday as the Nets took on the Washington Wizards. They defeated the Wizards 113-106. Now, Blake only had 2 points and 2 rebounds and a block in 15 minutes of play. But that dunk was smooth. I mean, you guys would have had to see it. Now, I did say dunk. We haven't seen Blake Griffin dunk the ball in a very long time. However, Blake, he looked pretty good. He hit that man with a pump fake, took him to the hole, smashed on him. I said, okay, Blake, what did I tell you guys? It's something about playing with a team that you know is in real contention to win a championship that brings the old player out of you. It makes you have fun again, because now you know that I'm not putting my all into this game for a losing effort. Now, last time we seen Blake play an NBA game was back on February 12th when he was still a Detroit Piston. Congratulations goes out to the point guard CP3 as he reached a milestone with 10,000 assists in his career. He became the 6th player in NBA history to reach this milestone. Chris Paul now sits only behind John Stockton, who leads the way at 15,806 assists. Former Suns Jason Kidd at 12,091. Steve Nash at 10,335. Mark Jackson at 10,334. And Magic Johnson, the Magic Man himself, at 10,141 on the all-time list. Those are some great names to be sitting behind Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Mark Jackson, Magic Johnson. I mean, you cannot go wrong with that list. And now you add the point guard himself, CP3. Congratulations, brother. And hopefully, Phoenix can make some noise in this year's playoffs. Sad but happy to say that Illinois, U of I, the Fighting Illini, lost to Loyola Chicago 71-58. Shout out to Loyola. Shout out to Illinois. Shout out to Chicago making some noise, baby. Ayo Desumu only had 9 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds in 38 minutes of play. But Cameron Krutwig led the way for Loyola with 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Loyola will be playing Oregon State on March 27th. Also, in other news, Kyrie Irving will not be traveling with the Nets for their upcoming 3-game road trip due to family reasons. This is nothing new for the Nets. They've had Kyrie in and out of the lineup. I hope whatever situation is going on with this family is not a severe one. I hope they're able to overcome whatever situation they're going through. Our thoughts and prayers are with Kyrie Irving. We don't know if it's a good thing, a bad thing. Could be somebody having a baby. We don't know. But whatever the situation is, I hope it's not a bad situation, as we are excited to get Kyrie back on the court. He's been playing some unbelievable basketball this year. I were one of those people that, criticized Kyrie for the way he handled things at first. Not mad at what he did, just mad at how he did it. And like I said, when you're a professional, you have to show professionalism at all time, and just not showing up to play is not a good look. It's not a good message that you send to your coaches, your general managers, and even your teammates. However, Kyrie has came back. He has righted those wrongs as he's been playing some excellent basketball this year. So again, I hope whatever is going on with his family, it's not a bad thing. I hope he's able to take care of business and get back to playing the game that he loves and we love to see him play. Also, now James Harden is going to have a lot of the load on him because KD is still out. As I mentioned, he has a tear in that hamstring now. So first it went from sore hamstring to now a torn hamstring. So he's going to be missing some more extended time. KD hasn't played since February 13th. So James Harden is kind of in a situation like he was in Houston. However, can you imagine if these two players come back? Well, Kyrie coming back, but can you imagine when KD gets back and he's a healthy KD? Brooklyn is going to be something scary, let me tell you. So I thought some prayers are with Kyrie Irving as he goes to be with his family to take care of personal reasons. And on a sad note today, the Lakers lost a legend. The NBA lost a legend. We lost Elgin Baylor today as he died at the age of 86 to natural causes. He played 14 seasons as a forward for the then Minneapolis and now Los Angeles Lakers. He was a number 1 draft pick in 1958, Rookie of the Year in 1959, 11-time NBA All-Star, and also held coaching positions in the NBA as well. He also was the 1959 MVP of the All-Star game. He even won an NBA championship back in 1972. And in 2006, he was named NBA Executive of the Year for his time as an executive for the Los Angeles Clippers. He spent 22 years as an executive for the Los Angeles Clippers. Elgin Baylor also at one time held the playoff record, scoring 61 points in a playoff game, in the game 5, actually, in the finals versus the Celtics. Even though the Lakers will lose against the Celtics, that playoff record will hold true until a certain person named Michael Jordan broke that record against, ironically, Boston, when he went for 63 in a losing effort. Elgin Baylor will be missed. He was a great man from what I read about him, a true activist. He stood up, for black people at a time where they didn't want to see us on the court, stood up for black people at a time where they didn't want us in America. Elgin Baylor was a true class act, a true hooper from what I'm seeing. The man, they say him and Jerry West, they got buckets. And they also say he was one of the trendsetters for players playing above the rim. So my thoughts and condolences goes out to Elgin Baylor and his family. Our prayers are with you guys. My prayers are with you guys. and I hope that you're able to find peace in the matter. Living to the age of 86 is never it's never easy to let go of a family member, but to live to the age of 86 means you did something right as a human being to live that long. And I'm pretty sure he was a wise man. Definitely looks like a father figure to the league, because I'm seeing reactions from other NBA players that are around my age that, know Elgin Baylor, so, another great legend that the Los Angeles Lakers franchise has lost. Again, rest in paradise, legend. And until we all get a chance to meet, just tell the big fella up there to save a spot for me on that hardwood court in the sky. And ladies and gentlemen, that's been my show. This has been a great show. A lot of good energy, a lot of positive vibes. Vibes that we all need. I saw my little brother post a live video today telling people to use their talents or use your passion to generate your income, And that was something that really spoke to me. A lot of times we get deterred. A lot of times we feel like, in the direction we're going is not moving fast enough. And, I was just speaking to my wife about this show, actually, and that's why I have this show, to have these conversations and just letting her know, man, it's not moving as fast as I want to do, as fast as I want it to go. I put work and effort into writing out these shows, studying the stats, watching these games, watching the highlights, and I only have a few people watching, but she was letting me know, hey, you cater to those few people watching and you continue to put the work in, and you'll get more of an audience. And I know sports is a viewer's choice type of thing, especially listening to sports is a whole nother animal. But for the people that do, heavily subscribe, the people that have, mentioned my show to friends or family members or coworkers of theirs who faithfully watch my show and give me thumbs up and give me, comments and good words of encouragement and, battle with me and debate with me on sports topics. I want to say I truly thank you guys. I truly appreciate the support, truly appreciate the love. I'm going to continue to bring that energy for you. We're going to continue to have amazing shows. And, regardless of who's watching, I'm going to perform like somebody is watching, ready to bring me into their network, bring me onto their station so you can see Rob Scott and lights, name in the lights, So I appreciate all the love and support. And I hope you guys continue to just set goals for yourself. Continue to execute on those goals, even if it takes one day, 1 month, 1 year, just start moving. That's the most important thing. Don't become stagnant. Start moving. And I love you guys, man. Remember, I'm not only just here on YouTube, but if you are watching here on YouTube and you're not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that like, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Ring that bell. Get the notifications when Rob's 2 Cents newest episodes are out and available. I'm here for you, man. If you want to know a little bit more about me, if you want to debate me on a subject that you heard me talk about in one of my shows, leave a comment. I'll talk a little shit with you. That's what this is about. This is about us having a good time, enjoying one of the greatest unifiers of the world, which is called sports. Also, check your boy out on Spotify. Check your boy out on iTunes. If you want to listen to a great podcast while you're getting your workout on, hit your boy up. Download the podcast. Also, follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Rob's 2 Cents. You know the name. And if you want to follow my personal page, Robert Great One Scott. Come holler at your boy Rob Scott, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the hottest sports conversation in the nation. This has been your boy Rob Scott with Rob's 2 Cents. Y'all have a great evening. Have a great and productive week. And continue to be great yourselves. And you know the slogan, baby. We gone. There's a bigger fight going on. There's a much bigger agenda than the streets. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that far in front of us, but we have to look past the illusions, look past the delusions of grandeur, and look at the bigger picture. We need to become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Fight for what you believe in. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We just getting started, baby. You guys know the slogan now. Hope you all have a great evening. And we gone.